Even though the tourism in Ladakh is dependent on its scenic beauty and surreal locations, it is rightly said that the charm of this paradise is certainly incomplete without the presence of monasteries. Hence, the young Union Territory made its debut in the extravaganza on Rajpath during the 72nd Republic Day with its main monastery, the Thiksey Monastery. Let's hear about it today. Press the bell icon on YouTube and never miss another update. Often considered the most beautiful monastery in all of Ladakh, Thiksey Gompa is located about 22 kilometers away from Leh. It belongs to the Gelugpa sect of Buddhism. In 1430 AD, the Gompa of Thiksey Monastery was built on a hillock by Spoon Paldan Sharab. There are many religious objects and shrines located in this monastery. About 250 monks call it home. The Gustor festival is celebrated from 17th to the 19th of the 9th month of Tibetan calendar. Sacred dances are performed during this time. Also at this site is an ancient temple built by Rinzin Zangpu. Its ruins are dedicated to goddess Dorji Chenmo. Celebrated on an annual basis, the sacred mask dance is also performed during the Gustor festival, a ritual. The Maitreya Buddha statue here is probably the most photographed statue of the Buddha of the future. The 15 meters 49 feet magnificent high statue took over 4 years to craft. The Thiksey Monastery is one of the most beautiful Tibetan Buddhist style monasteries in India, at the height of around 3,600 meters above sea level. It is situated in between the cold deserts of Leh and Ladakh. Known to be the largest Tibetan monastery in Ladakh, Thiksey Monastery houses several stupas, statues, and other Buddhist artifacts in its 12-story structure. There are various sections which you can visit in the monastery, each of which has a distinct style of architecture. The Persian aesthetics with the surrounding snow-clad beauty of the monastery is what attracts tourists from around the world. A striking feature of the monastery is the presence of a separate building of female renouncers apart from the statues, paintings, and other exhibits. The monastery also comprises Maitreya to commemorate the 14th visit of the Dalai Lama to this place. Be it the combination of nature and craftsmanship, the intermingling of various Buddhist sects, and the coincidence of historical and contemporary architecture or the soothing, serene environment, this place is noted for its resemblance to the Potala Palace in Tibet. Thiksey Monastery belongs to the Gelug or Yellow Hat sect of Tibetan Buddhist. The history of Thiksey Monastery states that the Gompa is a 15th century structure built in 1433 by Jengsem Sharab Zangpo, the disciple of Tangzung Kapa, the founder of the Gelug sect of Tibetan Buddhism. Founded in a small village monastery called Langkang Serpo or the Yellow Temple in Stegmo, north of the Indus. Later in the mid-15th century, Paldin Zangpo built a larger monastery a few kilometers away from Stagmo on a sacred hill above a village of the same name. This monastery is what we now know as Thiksey Gompa. Thiksey Monastery is one of the largest monasteries in Ladakh and is located about 19 kilometers from Leh on the Leh-Manali highway. It is often compared with the Potala Palace in Lhasa on account of its general appearance, as it occupies the entire south face of a hill. At the top of the monastery are buildings painted red and yellow, followed by a tumble down of small one-room box-like houses for the lamas, which are punctuated by large rectangular buildings at intervals. Today, the entire monastery area is well laid out with a large walled compound at the foothill and several small structures to hold the annual futong. The route leading up to the monastery is lined with chotins, stupas, and money prayer walls. Around the 16th century, Thiksey is the main center for a small suborder of the Gelugpa sect with a resident Kushok head Lama who runs the order with a firm hand in strict accordance with the Vinaya text. It houses about 80 monks on the premises and also holds one of the largest nunneries in Ladakh. However, before the 16th century CE, the Gelugpa Yellow Hat Monastery structure was a part of the defense establishment for the Namgyal rulers in She. The monastery manages the ancient site of Nyarma, located a few kilometers away and also part of the She cotton field. A school for novices and a Tibetan monastic center are also located within the monastery premises. It also houses a large number of important manuscripts, including the Grandeur, placed in a lakhang of the same name. The monastery was established to extend the influence of the Gelugpa teachings throughout Ladakh. This process was aided with the support of the royal family, which resulted in extending and building establishments in remote areas. Some of the most important monasteries in sight administered by Thiksey are Nyarma, Diskit, Hundar, Insta, and Stagmo. Thiksey is closely linked to the introduction of the Gelugpa order in Ladakh. The introduction was initiated by Tsongpa, 1357 to 1419, the great reformer in his lifetime. In order to propagate the sect's teachings, he sent envoys bearing gifts to the king Ras Bumde. Ras Bumde had already heard of Tsongkhapa and his reforms, and the reformers gave to impress him further. Bumde thereafter offered Petub as a center for the Gelugpa establishment. He also initiated the construction of a monastery in Petub as an offering to Tsongkhapa. After Ras Bumde, his son Lodro Togten continued his support to the Gelugpa order. He sent gifts to the first Dalai Lama, besides patronizing the Gelugpa scholar Sherab Tazunpu, a student of Kedrup Ji, who was one of the two main disciples of Tsongkhapa. Sherab Tazunpu was popular, and the king's patronage helped him establish a monastery at Stagmo. It was Point Sherab Raspa, the nephew of Sherab Tazungpo, who established Thiksey in 1433 and managed to increase the Gelugpa following in Ladakh. According to a popular narrative, the location for setting up the new monastery at Thiksey was revealed through a mystical episode. After performing sacred rituals at Stagmo temple, the Lamas, uncle and nephew, took the ritual torma, figures and objects made of floor, to disposed of. As they were approaching the spot, two crows snatched the vessel with the torma and flew away. The Lamas, searching for the torma, found them laid out undamaged on a hill above Thiksey village. Interpreting this mystical event as a divine directive to set up a monastery to propagate the teachings of Tsongkhapa and the Gelugpa order, the first temples were constructed at the Thiksey. Royal support to the Gelugpa establishments continued with the Namgyal 1595 to 1616, who after his release from Skardu, along with his wife Gyal Khatun, became a staunch supporter of the Gelugpa order. He made regular offerings to Jokhang in Lhasa, and the Dalai Lama in the Drimpung Monastery. He also handed over most of the old temples and monasteries, such as the ones at Alchi, Saspol, Myanmar, to the care of the Gelugpa establishments at Likir, Petub, and Thiksey. Young Namgyal and his wife continued their patronage to the Drukpa order in a limited fashion. However, Jamyang Namgyal was also responsible for limiting the growth of the yellow sect, as he sent an invitation to Starksan Raspa to visit his court. This small act initiated the process of Drukpa Kagyupa's ascendance in Ladakh. Senge Namgyal, son of Jamyang Namgyal, donated large estates to the Drukpa Kagyupa order with Starksan Raspa as the royal teacher. It is reported that Senje Namgyal wanted Thiksey to go to the Drukpa Kagyupa sect. However, Staksin refused to accept this gift. The Gelugpa establishments did not recover from the combined efforts of Senge Namgyal and Staksin Raspa in spreading the Red Hat doctrine and ensuring the supremacy of the Drukpa Kagyupa in the region permanently. The first incarnate of Bakula, Jangsem Sherab Tesunko, worked hard to establish the new reforms of Tasun Kappa in Ladakh. His subsequent appearances, incarnations, spread the doctrine in many parts of the region. Over the years, Incarnate managed to expand the Gelugpa influence across the region. Say, since its foundation was a primary Gelugpa institution in Ladakh, and it would appear that Petub and later Likir were also administered by the Thiksey Rinpoche in the early years. It was only in the late 19th century that a royal prince from Zanskar was appointed as the first Bakula of Petub. Thiksey also lost control of the Likir monastery after an incarnate was found. Ninth and present incarnate Thiksey Rinpoche Nangwang Jamyang Chamba Stanzin, born in 1943, redefined the role of a religious head along with Bakula Rinpoche of Petub. The Thiksey Rinpoche has actively taken on political advocacy to benefit the people of the region. Irrespective of their allegiance, he has scholarly and religiously accomplished and has also served as an elected member of the Rajya Sabha, the upper house, and as a state level minister. Under the stewardship of Thiksey Rinpoche, the monastery infrastructure has been updated with repairs carried out in several temples and a new structure added to the existing complex. Among the major visible additions in the Chamba Langkhang, built in 1980 with the 40-feet structure of Maitreya, and the Futong complex built in around 2010 at the base of the hill. If you haven't pressed the bell icon, press it now, and we would love to know your feedback in the comment section below. Till then, love.